Hello, students. This is the Wednesday summary of CRST 281, Old Testament 1. So let's just jump right into it. We don't have much time here. Amazon, set a timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes, starting now.
Okay. So let's just jump right into an introduction to the Psalms. You really need to watch the whole lecture, but do what we'll do. Psalms are a collection of poems. David wrote 73. You see the other people who wrote Psalms. The Psalms are divided into 5 groups or books, if you want to call them that. Each book ends with a blessing. And so we know there are 5 sections. Everyone agrees with that. One of the students asked today, well, are they all the same or are there differences among them? That depends on who you talk to. I haven't actually done that particular study. I really would love to do that because I've heard lots of good people say, yeah, well, there's a theme in the first book. The first book is Psalms 1 through 41, a theme in the second, Psalms 42 through 71, 72. But I don't know. I haven't seen this theme. I kind of sometimes feel like people have an idea and they try to stuff what they have in the Psalms into the idea. They might be right. Anyway, it's divided into 5 sections. When we look at the 150 Psalms, we see there are many different subjects. And I stole this from somebody, I don't know who I stole it from the internet. There's Psalms of praise. There are royal messianic Psalms. And these are especially about David or Solomon and about the Messiah. They're about the king, but it's usually David or Solomon. There are passion Psalms about the death of the Messiah. Those are really interesting. Psalm 22 is a really interesting one. Psalm 69 is a really interesting one. There are Psalms about Zion. That's Israel, Jerusalem, the temple. They're just Psalms that really love the temple or love Jerusalem, sometimes about Israel. There are laments, lots of laments. And laments are a mixed thing because there are sometimes praise Psalms that have laments in them or lament Psalms that have praise in them. Lots and lots of laments. Laments talks about sadness or suffering or need for God's help. A lot of the laments are really praise Psalms or prayers. And then what they call imprecatory Psalms, so you're never going to use this word anywhere. An imprecatory Psalm is calling God to judge the wicked. I haven't counted how many, but there are a fair amount, maybe 10 or 12, something like that. We're going to look at, well, we might not have time in this 7-minute summary. Penitential Psalms, I only know of a couple of those, but there may be more that I just haven't seen, haven't thought about. That's where you confess your sin. And then wisdom Psalms. And there are lots and lots of wisdom Psalms in the Zabur. Lots of wisdom Psalms. And there's a lot of wisdom in the Psalms too. But some of them are just teaching. Like Psalm 1 is a teaching Psalm. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. And then it talks about what that person's life would be like. And then there's a Psalm that talks that talks about how he had just basically become so bitter about how wealthy the rich were that he had stopped really even loving anything. And then God brought him into his temple and said, this is what's going to happen to those people who are wicked. Anyway, lots of really, really meaningful, profound teaching Psalms. And then Psalms of trust, where a psalmist will take a step of faith with God. Lots of those. Those are related to the Psalms of praise, though, really. Here's a Psalm, Psalm 3, about praise. And this is actually Psalm 36, not Psalm 3. And we don't have much time to talk about this, but David begins by describing how the wicked live. He finishes the Psalm also by talking about the wicked. So he starts a Psalm, first 4 verses, talking about the wicked. He ends the Psalm. And then in the middle, he talks about God, who's the opposite of the wicked. And it's awesome what he talks about. He talks about God's faithful love, God's infinite faithfulness, God's infinite righteousness, God's injustice. and God's care for all creatures. And so he has this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful description of God. First four verses are about the wicked. The last two verses are about the wicked. But in the middle, it's all about how wonderful God is. Enormously wonderful God is. Enormously loving, faithful, righteous, just, and caring. And then, all of a sudden, we come to this description of God. His faithful love is so valuable that people take refuge in the shadow of his wings. I want you to notice here, they're not taking refuge because God is powerful. Oh, that's true. They're taking refuge because God is loving, and they're hiding under his love. They're filled with abundance from his house. You let them drink from your refreshing stream. For with you is life's fountain, one of my very favorite verses in the Bible. For with you is life's fountain, and in your light, we see light. That's interesting. You can't really see light until you've seen God's light. Because what we call light is really darkness. We talk about being enlightened, but that's just darkness. The real light is God and his son, Jesus Christ. So God's love gives us protection. God's love takes care of us. God enables us to see what he's really like. And then David comes to his original subject. He's going to ask God to protect him. Spread your faithful love over those who know you, your righteousness over the upright. Do not let the foot of arrogant men come near me. Their evildoers fall. So what Paul does is he starts off by talking about the wicked, and then he talks about God's wonderfulness, and then he comes with his prayer requests. So this is a principle that I see all throughout the Psalms. When people have a problem, first they look at what God is like, and then they ask God to do something. So I'm just going to close with this. Using the Psalms, it's just fabulous. Using music, Christian music is fabulous because it helps you to build your faith. So I want you to think of faith as something inside of you that needs to be fed. The Word of God is the best food to make your faith strong. And so reading the Psalms is a great thing. But usually what we do, and someone brought up the example of Psalm 23, usually what we do is this. We say the Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And we think that the Psalm is going to do something, but no. That's like taking a big plate of food, lots of wonderful, delicious food on it, and sticking it on the table in front of a person. Well, it doesn't do them any good if it's just sitting there on the plate. And that's what we do with our Psalms. We can say our song over and over again, our Psalm over and over again. We can sing it, but that is not where it is. Secondly, if you're going to do something with that food, you got to take a fork and eat it. That's like thinking. So you have the Psalm, you sing the Psalm, you sing the song, you recite it over and over again, but are you thinking about what it's saying about God? Are you thinking about how that applies to your situation? Are you thinking about what you should do based upon what God is like? The third part is you got to swallow it. Swallowing it is like taking a step of faith. So that's my bizarre and strange analogy. Faith needs to be fed. It's fed by the Word of God, but not just by having a plate full of the Word of God. You have to actually first stick it in your mouth, and then you have to think about it and understand it. That's like sticking it in your mouth. And then you have to swallow it. You have to take your step of faith. Well, God bless you. I hope and you'll be able to understand all that this means.